What is up? KG Fitness here. As you can see, we are starting our chest day with upper chest benching. For the first set, I start off with a warm up set, which is a light weight that you can handle just to warm up the muscles to make sure that you're able to be prepared to lift heavier weights after and to avoid injuries. Moving on from that, we move on to the middle set, which is just a weight that's not too heavy and basically allows you to, again, warm up the muscles even more, preparing you for the heavier set, which will then allow you to lift a lot more heavier weight, avoiding any injuries as well, because you've already prepared your muscle and built up towards lifting the heavier weight. This just gives you the opportunity to be able to lift a lot more once you get to the heavier weight. Moving on to that, we've got the heavier weight, which is basically one that requires you to push yourself a lot more than you're used to. And again, you just go for as many reps as possible on this one and just focusing on form. But if form becomes a bit difficult, of course, you can utilize a lot more methods to get that weight moving and to get that weight up. Okay, it's always important to make sure that to keep yourself in form when lifting the weight. Whenever I'm doing any one of my exercises, I always tend to focus on going also for my 1 rep maxes. This then allows me to know exactly how strong I've gotten and if I've outlifted what I've lifted before. Then moving on from one rep max, I go on to doing a drop set, which is basically where I do the same weight I did before, which in this part was the 100 kilograms. And basically, I just focus on lifting that weight for as many reps as possible and just focusing on getting the muscle moving, focusing on getting that pump, just to get that area as strong as possible and making sure that the next time I come in there, I can lift a lot more heavier weight. In this part, I was a bit tired from when I'd lifted before, so I could only go for just a couple of reps. And so moving on from that, we've got the flat bench. On this one, it's the same thing as the upper chest bench. We just focus on form, focus on getting the hand placement right, which is what I do here, just the lift goes smoothly. And then we just do this for as many comfortable reps as possible, not too many, because again, we are just preparing ourselves for the heavier weight we're gonna push anyway. So just focus on just getting the muscle warmed up, getting the muscle moving right whenever you're doing a warm-up set, and just to get the blood flowing, make sure the muscle knows exactly what it needs to do, and this again just avoid injuries. So on this one, this is just my middleweight, what I just focus on, again just moving that weight, doing as many reps, just keeping me focused on knowing that at some point I'm going to be lifting heavier weight, and just warms me up all the way till I lift a heavier weight. So yeah, I felt pretty good lifting this. No strain so far on my left elbow, although there was a little bit of pain after I'd done it. So then we move on to my heavier set, which is around 135 kilograms. This one tends to give my elbows a little bit of a problem, especially my left elbow. But on this part here, I was able to do at least my 1 rep, which is my 1 rep max on this weight. And I felt pretty happy about this. Then I dropped the set and moved on to around 120 kilograms on this one. And basically, I felt really good lifting this, and I felt like I could have gone for a lot more reps, but I just felt that it was due to the fact that I had already done the upper chest bench. I'd already gone basically full on with upper chest. My body was just already tired, and I could only go for a couple of reps on this one. But I'm pretty happy with that. Just next time when I do start, I'll just start with potentially flat bench as well. Moving on from flat bench, we've got shoulders. On this one, it's always the same. Start with a light weight that you can do for a good few reps, just to warm you up and get your muscles prepared for the heavy set. It's so important because it avoids injuries and it just gets your body used to moving weight at different positions because I was doing chest before, but now I'm doing shoulders. After that, we move on to our middleweight, which for me is basically 36 kilograms. I've been able to move a lot more heavier, but usually I'd need some support, just due to the fact that I've not developed those stabilizers for those muscles to be able to move weight that heavy on my shoulders. But so far, this weight was fine, allowed me to get a good pump on my shoulders. I was able to move that weight easily. Felt like it wasn't too hard, so I thought might as well go heavy. Although I was feeling a bit tired, and I was feeling a bit like I knew in myself that I was gonna struggle when I went to the heavier weight, but I knew that I could lift a weight heavier than 36. So on this one, we've got 40 kilograms. I moved that weight for a couple of reps. I felt good. I felt like I got my reps in, although I probably could have done more had I been fresh that day or if I'd only been training shoulders. But I felt like I got a good few reps and I got the pump in. After that, we move on to the behind the neck presses. On this one, form is very important, just because of the fact that people tend to injure themselves a lot when they don't do this properly. And I've only just started doing this workout, but I've really enjoyed it. It's actually helped me in growing my rear delts, and as always gives me a good pump whenever I do it. And if you do this one with the machine for your rear delts, again, it's a really good workout on that day. Moving on from that, you move on to my middleweight, which is basically 20 kilograms on each side, and you just go for as many reps as possible, focusing on form again, focusing on getting that rate up. On this one, you don't need to go too hard because, again, it is the middleweight, and just go for as many as you feel comfortable with because you're going to go heavier than this, which for me would have been my 20 kilograms on each side and 10, and then adding on a 10 on each side as well, which you can see here. So on this one, I go for a 1 rep max on this one because I was again tired. Usually I'm able to go for a lot more reps, but on this time around, because I just done chest, it was a little bit more difficult. And I just dropped the weight down again to 20 kilograms just to get the reps in, get the blood flowing into that muscle, and get that muscle growing. And then just do this again for as many reps as possible because this is our last workout, and this is basically just focusing on growing the muscle, just making it, get as strong as possible. Doing it for as many reps as you can, making sure to keep the form on point, making sure the form is strict because, again, this exercise does tend to cause a lot of injuries as well. And then moving on from that, we've got the lower chest flies, which for me, I do enjoy doing because it helps in growing the lower chest. I know there's other people that tend to do either benching on this one or they can do dumbbells, but I tend to think that puts too much strain again on my elbows and puts my shoulders in a weird position. So I just don't like doing that. And I just start off with like a low weight first, and then I move on to my middleweight, which is basically one where I feel comfortable with. And I just focus again on just moving the weight with my lower chest, getting the pump into that lower chest and making sure that it grows that part of the muscle and gets that muscle as strong as possible. And just focus on lifting that weight for as many reps. And then moving on from that, again, we have the heavier weight, which is basically around 64 kilograms on the flies. So this one was a bit difficult. It was a lot more grueling, and I generally did feel like I was struggling to lift this weight, but I felt good after I lifted it. Felt like my muscles were growing, felt like they were getting stronger. Moving on from that, we dropped the weight down to something that we can do for as many reps as possible. That's not too straining. We just go as many reps, just focusing again on form, focusing on moving the muscle with that particular part of the body. And that's also part of growing the muscle as well. Then after that, we've got the flies. I always like to finish off with this workout when it comes to my chest days because it just gives me such a good pump. And I just feel like my chest is full and stronger after I've done this as a finisher on my chest days.